What's going on, guys? I'm gonna bring you guys another video here. This one's gonna be, obviously from what you're saying, is gonna be a review and more of a personal take on the Kriss Vector, the Gen 1 and the Gen 2. So I've got the Gen 1 in 45, that was the only caliber that it was available in, and I've got the Gen 2 in 40 cal, because I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds in 40 cal. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna pretty much just go over some of the things I like, some of the things I maybe don't like so much, things that they've probably should have kept from Gen 1, brought it over to Gen 2, or just maybe fixed for the Gen 2, or maybe not done for the Gen 2. I don't know. I'm just shooting from the hip here. But off the top of my head here, both of these from factory, not as they're configured right now. They weigh about the same. They weigh about 7 pounds a piece. They both have 5.5-inch barrels. Now for the Vector, the SDP or SBR, I believe the 5.5-inch barrel is the only option. I don't think they did like a 6 or 7.5, anything like that. 5.5 is the only one. So it's either that, an SBR or pistol. This one's an SBR. I went ahead and asked for permission and paid the king a $200 tax stamp. And but this one I kept as a pistol, because now with the way these braces are, I mean, I don't know that I'll ever SBR another weapon. These things are actually pretty top notch. But they both have 5.5-inch barrels. Like I said, they weigh about the same. They're also both 1 in 10 twist, if I'm not mistaken. Now, because they are in different calibers, the thread twist, they both come with threaded barrels. The thread twists are going to be different for both. For the 40 cal, I believe it's going to be like a 9/16 and 24, something like that. In the 45, it's going to be the M16 by 1 in a left-hand twist. Let me see. Some of the things that they did change. The more noticeable one, obviously, would be the trigger. The Gen 2, they actually moved to a single stage pivoting style trigger. Actually, before I move on, just show that the gun is safe. And I'll send it home. And then it is safe. Did I send it home? No, yeah, okay. It went. All right, so yeah, the trigger. So the trigger on these, they are on this one again. The second generation Kriss, they went to a single stage pivoting trigger, while on the first gen Kriss, it feels like a bullpup trigger, even though everything is where it's supposed to be, not in the back, but it feels like a bullpup trigger. It feels terrible. It feels awful. However, the way the gun functions in cycles while you're shooting definitely makes up for that funky ass trigger that it has. The trigger just feels wrong. It feels gross, frankly. But they definitely did it right with the Gen 2. It's a lot crisper than on the first gen. However, having said that, I do believe the 45 actually has a lot better recoil mitigation than the 40 cal, because I got, 40 cal kicks like a mule. But even that, I mean, it's still a soft shooting 40 cal carbine for what it is. Just because of the V, if you don't know, the reason they call it the Super V is because of the mitigation system. The bolt actually goes back and down, so it makes it a lot smoother. It doesn't just go straight back into your shoulder. This one actually feels like a 22 when I shoot it, no lie. Like, I've got a SIG MPX, and I've got a B&T, the GHM9. This one has less recoil than both of those. It's amazing. It's awesome. And that's shooting 230 grain. All right, so what else? Let's see. What else? All right, so I guess from Gen 2s and the Gen 1s, they did away with this style stock, which was great, the folding stock. Now, I don't quote me now, I don't want to get sued, but I think the only option for this one would be to, it's weird, it's more like an AR folding stock, unless you're using their enhanced SBR, which is a machine gun. And it's basically just like a stick. Now you can get the Gen 1 with that stock, but I've never seen it on a Gen 2. What became really popular now with this one, with the Gen 2, is just collapsing AR style buttstock, which doesn't look bad. It grew on me. I didn't like it at first because I was partial to this one, the little fishtail thing here, but I liked it. Now, something that they could have done, in my opinion, was actually offered it with something like this. Now, what I have here on this one is the Maxim Defense brace. This is one of the shorter one. I could have gone with one of the other brand that looks very similar, but this one is like a whole 2 inches shorter, and I wanted to keep that package as short as I could possibly get it. Because again, I mean, it is very compact, but it's heavy. Both of them. I mean, both of them for what they are, they're pretty heavy. All the internals are very beefy. So it's got a lot of polymers on the exterior. All the interiors are very robust, to say the least. So the weight is definitely there. This weighs as much as an M4. So naked. That's without optics or anything. So on my Gen 1, I've got it. If you're any old school shooters, I've got a grip pod, old school grip pod in here. And the only real reason I still have that in here is because I have the pressure plate for this light here. Let me switch places here. I just flagged myself. Look at that. Glad I cleared it. But if you can see it, this up top here on the Gen 1s is one of the things that I liked about it, because it gave you a place to put a flashlight. And it was like one of the miniature, shirt fires. This was actually a Kriss brand, but it's the same exact light pretty much. And you know, it's right on top of the barrel, which I thought it was pretty genius. Only bad thing about that though is that it gets fouled up with carbon from shooting. So if you're doing night drills with it, every now and then you're gonna have to actually wipe it, just so you can actually shine something. Let's see. Again, this one is I mean, they're both threaded. They all come pretty much threaded. Now I run it with the Silencer Co. Osprey. This is the K-Can. The only con about this setup here is that I have to remove this light before I'm able to reinstall the can. So I mean, I took this off here. Generally it's always on, but since I haven't shot it in a while and it was just sitting in the safe, I took it off so I can shoot this on another pistol, because it's sitting here, but it gets in the way, as you can see. It won't actually let this rotate. Let's see, one of the things that they changed from the Gen 1s to the Gen 2s, the safety. They definitely changed the safety. It was like a ridiculous throw that I didn't like, because you can't disengage the safety all the way a lot of the times. For me, I don't have big ass meaty hands, you know. On the Gen 2s, it's right there. It's just, I mean, I don't know, what is that, 45 degrees? So it's definitely an improvement over what this is here, because a lot of the times, like, I have to overextend myself. If I'm shooting normally, I actually have to do it with my index finger. let's see. Oh yeah, so I didn't say the light. So only reason that I keep this grip on, I'm gonna end up getting something shorter with the grip on, is so that I can actually engage that pressure plate for the light. That's really it. That's really its only purpose in there. This thing is huge and pretty old. This thing is a dinosaur. Let's see. They all take Glock mags, standard Glock mags. So for the 45, Kriss made these. They sell the mags just like this. This up top is a standard Glock magazine, 45. I think it's like a Glock 21 or something. And the bottom is just like a sleeve that goes over. So it's got like 2 sleeves. It changes the spring. It's a pretty nifty system. I like that. And now with all of the different caliber Krisses that they made this same setup, except for fucking 40 cal. Why, Kriss? If you're listening, I want this in this. I don't want this and this. This looks ridiculous. I like the way this looks. This looks good. I don't like the way this looks. That looks goofy to me. But that's just my personal opinion. I mean, they don't need me. But, you know, just food for thought. Something I wish they would have done. Something else I wish they would have done is actually keep the light. It's a small package. You know, this is a really, really small weapon. I don't know why they removed it, because you can't really put one up top. The only other place for a rail, it's on the side here, and you can't really put a light here. I mean, you could, and, you know, people do, but ideally I would put it up top on something this short, because I just lay my hands over the charging handle like this. These are now reciprocating, which is awesome. Love that. Everything is ambi. I didn't mention that before. But these rails, you can't purchase these rails to put these. They don't come on it. So I may end up actually moving this to the Gen 2 because they fit, and maybe running some sort of miniature light on it. I'm not sure, but I do like the Star Wars look of this thing. It's pretty cool. So normally I would run them, like I have aim points for both of them. Although I was running another Trijicon RMR, just like this one, basically this same exact one. I was running it on this Gen 2 up top, but it was kind of too low for me. The way aiming my cheek weld with it was just uncomfortable. And not so much because of this. This was just fine. It's just, it was hard to acquire the dot because the actual sight was so low. And that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted that look. The profile, I wanted it as low as possible, but it didn't work to my advantage. So while I got the look that I wanted, it didn't function the way I needed it to. So I'm gonna end up going back to another aim point. I run aim points on a lot. I do have the the Trijicon MRO Patrol. I love that thing. I have that on the B&T, so I may end up getting another one of those and putting it on this one. First world problems, right? We'll figure it out as we go. Obviously, these are all short, so I have single point slings for both of them. Another thing that I don't like, let's see. Again, guys, I'm just shooting from the hip here. This isn't something that, this is just informative and for fun. Let's see, the way the mag release, I don't like it because I like to shoot sometimes like this, but on this one, because I don't have anything, I grab it from the frame. So I do run the possibility sometimes of inadvertently squeezing it out. It is kind of soft. The spring is there's not a lot of tension. So if I squeeze it enough with my little meat pad there, it will disengage the mag. Now they both come with backup sights. Obviously for the Gen 2s, they moved to the Magpul 1, which is fine. I wish they would have done the better Magpul ones, the slimline one. But that's fine, you know. It came with it. I didn't have to go out and buy it, So that's a plus. Let's see what else here. I think that's it. Both of these have these little pouches on the bottom here. This is where I actually keep the tag stamp for this thing, the copy of it. They're not going to get the original. As for that, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not much to it. It's just like just another gun. It's great. I love it though, but there was definitely room for improvement. One thing, one of my buddies, we actually wrote Kriss and asked them to make this system in 5.56. That would have been awesome if they would have listened. I would definitely pay money for that. But anyway, that's it. Hey guys, real quick, forgot to mention on the that last little bit on the video with the Kriss, with the Vectors, they're supposed to be multi-caliber units where you can change them from 45 was the original caliber. You were supposed to be able to change it to 40 and 9mm. Now they even have 10mm, but 10mm wasn't even a thought back then when they developed the gun to begin with. But anyway, that's something that they were telling me back then, that that was in their plans, to be able to work it to where you could switch it from 45 to 9mm and to 40, which I was definitely excited about because I've gotten no shortage of 40 cal. So I wanted to be able to convert my SBR from 45 to 40 cal as I saw fit. However, the Swiss, they like to do this this nifty little thing. I find it annoying, where it's basically wherever the barrel is, that's the serialized portion. It's not like how we run it here in the States, where the frame or your lower receiver is generally what the serialized portion of the weapon system is. So they came out with their version of I guess a caliber conversion kit, so you can have all of the calibers in one weapon system. However, they're all individually serialized, so that's a bunch of bullshit. Because if you have an SBR like me, you can't switch the caliber, because you're effectively changing the weapon system altogether. And the lower receiver on the Kriss, if you paid attention, that's where the barrel is. It's not on the top. It's actually on the bottom. The top on the Gen 1 is where it's basically just a frame. So think this, reverse it. But the top is where the light would have been on the Gen 1. The Gen 2 doesn't have anything, but both of them on the lower receiver is the receiver that holds the barrel and contains the serial number. So they tried to do that where you can buy it and then you can have multiple calibers, but you can't do that if you have an SBR, because, well, you already paid for that tax stamp for that specific serial number. So it won't happen. So that's pretty much it. Just something I forgot to mention.